Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Serpent's Open July Tournament Qualifier number 6, the last chance for both these players, actually, to qualify for the season final. We're going to crank it up a notch by sending ourselves to the Boolean Complex and introducing our first player, who is our Cybran Green Commander. It is Iron Commander. I'm laughing because he's random, but he pulled Cybran, opening up with a double Air Factory. Perhaps this isn't the best for him to be pulling Cybran on this map against his opponent, who's playing UEF, who is spawning in red on the bottom of Boolean Complex. It is Hope, opening up with one UEF Air Factory and expanding all the things. We will see how this game progresses, but I imagine we will have a little bit of downtime. In the meantime, however, I would like to thank Mr. Savvy Nolo, who I believe is TechBlade, for not only subscribing, but also gifting a sub to Petite, or how I should say, Sidaha. And I know I don't think he enjoys me calling him that, but you know what? You know what? That's just what I do. That's just what I do. But yeah, thank you so much, dude. You're awesome. And thank you guys for watching as well. You guys have been chatting in the break. Sorry for a little bit of a longer break. There was, I believe, Hope and Moggenra were in the middle of a crazy game, and it took quite a bit to finish. So hopefully the rest of the rounds go pretty nice and smooth. I mean, we want epic games, but, also it's hard to have quick games when you have such great players. The skill level of this tournament is absolutely ridiculous, and hopefully we just pick the right games to cast. Nice long games, and I think this is going to be one of them, although it can always be that there's going to be an air engagement very quickly. It looks like Hope is already amassing quite a bit of planes, and he might actually want to go across map here and try to win, but Iron is not going to play dumb. He's going to stay back and not capitalize on Hope's advantage in this fight. Going to be very, very hard to win an air fight against a UEF at this stage of the game, unless you're doing a particular build, but he hasn't, so the time has passed for that. But in any way, Iron is going to expand forward. I imagine he's going to want to switch into some land production eventually. Now, the one benefit of this build that Iron is doing, or rather in this situation of Cybran versus UEF Air, is that he can expand fairly freely without being too afraid as of right now about getting his expansion sniped. So he has expanded actually quite a bit here, much more mass extractors here than Hope for the time being, but Hope is gonna want to engage here with air as soon as he can. There's already anti-air towers on Iron's air factories, so I really, really like this play. I think Iron is hitting all the right things. Now, of course, if you guys haven't seen the screen between the games, we did unfortunately have Iron lose to Foxtremolin 2-0. So, and Hope and Moggen drew 1-1. So the system matched them up because Iron is a little higher ranked than Hope in MMR, and so a tie for Hope is, puts him up right about where Iron is when he loses. But quite interesting there. We do have a lot of great matchups. We have I had to pass up Moggen versus Osmos, which I know should probably be a really good game. There's also Rainbows versus Jurek, and Unknown versus Explo. That's actually an interesting match. I think Unknown has a little bit of an edge there, but don't count Explosive out because he has been practicing quite a bit, and he beats Iron Commander every now and then, and all you need is one win, and you have a draw, and that gives you a pretty good chance in the table. And I believe Explo won his game 1. Yes, he did. So that is very nice. And we do have a transition from Iron Commander into land here. There is going to be more air factories on the way. Quite a bit of air. From Hope, however, there's a third air factory for him coming up. But, this isn't enough air. I don't think this is enough air for Hope to be engaging over Iron's anti-air. So... And time is kind of ticking. I don't think he has scouted yet. He doesn't know if Iron is necessarily gonna be gonna be, you know, contesting air. I think it's a safe bet. He hasn't seen any land, so he's just gonna confirm that and scout. No, he isn't. And are we going to see bombers? No, I think wasps is a safe option here. Iron is going to send only a portion of his air. That's not going to be enough to pick off these scouts, though. It's not quite enough. I think Iron should be able to see these. Ooh, nice pickoffs. I like both those wasps going down here for Iron. That's a pretty nice win for him, because any wasps he can pick off without losing a plane of his own, or rather a wasp of his own. No, not wasp, but Gemini. I always confuse the air terms. It's it's so bad. But yeah, any wasp he can pick up without losing a Gemini is going to be very, very nice. He's even starting to produce loyal. He's going to start harassing, and without bombers, without that air win that is crucial for UEF, you just you can't really contest these loyalists. So it's going to be a big problem here in a second for Hope. I imagine he's going to have to throw down quite a bit of point defenses here to counteract this. But even then, I mean, Loyalist Micro can be insane. We do have an air engagement, a very important air engagement here for Hope. He has to win this and switch into bombers as soon as possible because of those Loyalists coming out. We do see a lot of Geminis falling, but I still see quite a bit of green here. That anti-air is working its magic here, and I think at the end of the day, I think this is going to be an even trade. No, it is not even going to be an even trade. Hope is going to lose his air, and this is going to be a good game, I think, ladies and gentlemen. Hope is not necessarily one of the players that will GG out of a game when he loses an air fight, but this is a very disastrous situation, don't get me wrong, for a UEF player to be here, especially in this position here. There's a point defense coming up for Hope. He's going to try to micro that engineer, but Iron is going to pick that up. Oh, yeah, nope. He doesn't quite realize that. I think his micros are elsewhere, but I would not be surprised for him to focus down that, to refocus that engineer down and get that win there. He's building so many land factories. It's going to be so hard to counteract. Hope is building a lot of research generators. I think ultimately that is the correct choice here. If there is some kind of hope for Hope, it's you know, getting some kind of research tech at this point and trying to, you know, win that way. But he's so far behind, guys. I'm just trying to find some positives here for our Russian player. He's going up against the Beast, perhaps the greatest of all time. And, you know, as a caster, you're not supposed to show favoritism, but he's one of my favorite players. Hope is a beast. You know, I used to say last season, if you guys have been watching the SCS for, you know, a really long time, Hope was the only player that scared me last year. That was before Iron Commander. Now Iron Commander is just, you know, it's a whole new level of fright, to the point where, you know, you start questioning your own existence. You start questioning, you know, are you really seeing 4 loyalists, or is it like 16 loyalists? Like you just start questioning your eyes. You start questioning your own abilities. You start questioning everything. Like, there's 2 loyalists here. There's 2 freaking loyalists here. And, you know, there's anti-air now for Hope. That's what he's going to choose to do. I think that's also the right choice here. So I think Hope is making all the right choices. Unfortunately, just the beast of Iron Commander just cannot be stopped. It's quite interesting. Let's see how Iron Commander chooses to respond here. He's building research of his own. I mean, that's one option. I think that's more of a safer option. Another option would just go to MMLs here. He might go into artillery, which, I mean, I think is a little too slow at the end of the day here. Air is a good option. I think air is going to overpower all these expansions as well. But really, I mean, guys, I'm just trying to keep the word vomit going here. But you know, the story of the game is going to remain that Iron is in the firm lead here. And Hope is going to need something truly special. Decent try to pull these Geminis into anti-air here. I do like that. Hope is trying. He's doing his very best. And, you know, we've seen crazy games where the air player just comes back. We've seen Hope play... what was that really interesting game on Waystation Zeta one time? I think it was Unknown versus Hope. an unknown just came back, or maybe it was Hope that came back. It was very early, season 1, I think, of the SCS last year. So it's been a while, but yeah, there was a pretty good game. And there's so many maps, especially these bigger open maps where you have a bunch of expansions, where you can kind of more easily come back, even if you have even when you're low on air. The air is actually not super disastrous right now. This isn't a whole lot of air. It can't even one pass a mass extractor here. Hope is going to try to engage one more time. He doesn't have any upgrades on his wasps here, and Iron, I believe, has 2 upgrades there. So this is going to be very, very tough, but there is a bunch of anti-air. Maybe this will help him a little bit. There's a nice engagement for remaining red planes there, and Iron is going to choose to retreat. He's going to lose a lot of Geminis here on this retreat, if not all of them. Oh, man, and somehow Hope wins the air, and this is why I say, it doesn't necessarily when there's the reinforcements here for Iron that he hasn't been using. Nice little bit of hiding from Iron. I'm sure Hope is a little frustrated about that, but he's going to end up having to deal with that. Probably going to lose his expansion here. This is a lot of loyalists at this time, and we still don't see what Iron is going to be transitioning into. He has economy to really do anything. We still haven't seen... Oh, that third air factory hasn't gone down, by the way. I totally missed that. So, it's not a huge thing, but now I think Hope is going to win air pretty soon here. And honestly, the way this looks right now, these loyalists are probably not going to finish this game. Although Hope needs to start re-expanding again. That's definitely the correct choice here. These loyalists, if this push gets shut down somehow by this air, which there isn't really enough bombers here, but there is, Mex guns still. There's still a possibility here. But once again, I'm sure that Iron here is going to transition into something, and we do see more air factories being plopped down. As far as transitions go, it's not the worst, but it's also not the best, given that Hope just pretty kind of won air, and he's about to do it again, I think, here. There's a lot of anti-air. Does he have upgrades on his wasps? He does have 1 star now on there, and he is going to win air again on the retreat. Iron has been choosing his engagements here very poorly, I think. There is jump jets now, which I actually don't like either. If those wasps were a little better positioned, I think a lot of those loyalists could have gone down. And this isn't... All of a sudden, I think Hope pulls back a little bit. He's actually ahead in score right now, which is very interesting to see here. And, these loyalists did get shut down. I did not expect that to go down. There's an engineer here to rebuild this expansion. There's a lot of mass to be reclaimed. That's one way that you can pull yourself back, is to reclaim all the mass. He's re-expanding. This is not looking too terrible. And, this is a slow transition from Iron. He has a lot of air factories going down. Don't get me wrong. This is going to be a very, very difficult thing to stop here. But there's a lot of research for Hope. Don't forget, we can transition into air fortresses and the like. We still have anti-air. There might be a snipe coming in, of course, with all those Geminis on the field. It's always a possibility, but we probably are going to have Honker. We're probably going to have shields as well by that time, if Hope continues playing all the right cards here. If this engineer can't go down, if this engineer goes down, it's going to be kind of hairy for Hope. He really needs to secure an expansion here, keep expanding, and keep building things. He needs to put he does scout all these air factories. That is a perfect scout. Well, actually not perfect, but there's a lot of engineers also being built by Iron Commander. Beautiful things from Iron. And you just see the level. You just see the level of both these players. We do have a transition to a gantry. I love this game, guys. You have no idea. I really hope this is a fortress, because if it's anything else, it's game over for Hope. Air Fortress will be very, very nice. He needs to win an air engagement again while he's still kind of on even footing from his production and his win, before all this extra production for Iron that kicks in. If he wins a fight here, it will be very nice, but we do see adapters coming out for Iron, and that is going to be quite nasty to deal with from Hope. And how are we not seeing mobile missile launchers still? That is just the perfect answer, I think. No, it is AC-1Ks. Oh, Hope. You just scouted a bunch of extra air factories. I don't know what that's all about. I mean, he does need... if this did have mobile missile launchers, then he would need to address this. But as it stands right now, I think he can easily deal with this right now, even with all these adapters out on the field. So I'm really not sure. He probably honestly doesn't have the eco to be producing fortresses right now. That is definitely true. But nevertheless, I think that he needs to transition into them sooner rather than later. Is that loyalist still alive, or is that a different loyalist? And honestly, at this point, Iron has so much research generators, he's going to transition into artillery. He might have too many air factories right now, so too much mass consumption to really be doing anything else. But, I mean, all these extra mass extractors are going to kick in eventually. We're at 18th minute of this crazy game, guys. And, yeah, now there's just a bunch of air. We do have shields for both players on their air forces, so that's going to be good. Unfortunately, again, UEF is kind of disadvantaged here because of having to build bombers, dedicated bombers, but all Hope needs is a good engagement here. I think a good engagement, and if he wins air here, if he wins air one more time, he can be back in this game. He can be back in this game, and we will have a really good game on our hands, because honestly, they're on equal footing on the research. We do have another jump jet coming in. Ooh, that is not a good engagement from Hope, and I think this is it. Yeah, that was a very bad engagement. I don't know what Hope's air was doing. There was no real reason. I think he was trying to run from adapters. But, you know, you have to fight there. You're going to lose more on the retreat like that. And unfortunately, yeah, there's just a whole lot of air for Iron Commander now. Oh, Hope. Hope, you had my hopes up. You had my hopes up, and unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be it. He doesn't. I thought he conquered, but that wouldn't have mattered anyway, as the Geminis have plenty of firepower to finish off Hope's commander. And game one, we're only in game one, ladies and gentlemen, does go to Iron Commander. Game two is gonna be on Tourney Dome modded map 1v1, which I'm really excited to see. Hopefully Hope brings quite a bit. That's a lot of hopes. I need to stop that. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, I hope that Hope brings something extra to that match, and bring an enjoyable game to you guys. Don't go anywhere. We should be back in just a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game two between Iron Commander and Hope. Let's go ahead and see what our players are up to. To the right-hand side of Tourney Dome, we have our green UEF Commander. Don't forget, Iron is playing random this tournament. He is opening up, it looks like, with one air factory and one land. And honestly, I like seeing Iron play UEF. I think he is very creative, and he's very, very good at it. You know, he's good at all factions, but I think UEF is his second strongest, to be completely honest. And then I think Aeon is his weakest. I don't know. He might disagree with me. His opponent, though, is opening up with a triple land factory as UEF. It's going to be very hard to stop, given that there's an air factory, I think. Well, depending on what Hope does, but I think Hope is more than capable of utilizing this triple opening to his advantage. And, you know, this might be a similar to push to what Alpha Hex did in the anniversary tournament, although we don't see Titans here. Yeah, I don't know what that build was about. I don't know if he just YOLO'd it, but somehow it worked out, or, you know, that's an actual Titan build push. I don't know. I wouldn't pick Titans to push your opponent, so that's why I'm kind of questioning it. But anyway, we have tanks here in this game. There's not going to be much of an expansion here from Hope, and yeah, he's just hightailing it here. Only the first tank is popping out. We do only have one bomber here so far. What did he open with? Did he open up with a bomber? Yes, he did open up with a bomber, I believe. So that is kind of important here. We also have P shields coming out. Oh, Hope, you can't be clumping your tanks. You gotta spread. You gotta spread. Come on. Oh no, come on, Hope. All right, well there we go. That will kind of do it, but definitely could have been done better there. And Hope is going to continue. The P shield should be holding quite nicely. Only about a little bit over a third of it goes down with each bomber shot. Do these bombers have upgrades? No, they do not. So yeah, about 3 bombing runs takes to break that P shield, which is honestly quite a bit. Hope, come on, my man. You got to be spreading your units. This is your one and only hope here, is for this push to hope. You got push to hope, a push to work out here for you. You can't be very nice target fire. I actually quite like taking out the P shield there because again, it takes 3 of these to 3 bombers to break through a P shield here. So he has 5 here, so they're not going to break through this for these 2 P shields here. Interesting that Iron Commander actually chose to build quite a bit of mobile missile launchers here. I don't know if he was afraid of a PD push. I think a PD push is not very plausible with this opening, which he did scout. So I think that's a little bit of a mistake by Iron, actually, because there isn't a whole lot of possibility for a PD push here. So I actually very much disagree with his mobile missile launchers, but the air is quite nice for sure. And where's anti-air for Hope? There's really not. Oh, there's the first Arcanist making its way down the field here. And yeah, what is Hope doing? His control of his units hasn't been great here. Even walking with his ACU into some MML fire. There is now anti-air. No, it looks like he did build a Wasp, or maybe that was a mistake. Yeah, I thought he scouted with a Wasp, so I'm not terribly surprised because that's generally what you want to open, I think, in this situation. Oh, I know why he built duh. Guys, I had like 3 hours of sleep, so give me a break here. He built mobile missile launchers because there's P shields on the field. That makes sense. That makes sense, Nite. Why are we having such difficulties understanding basic principles of Supreme Commander 2 right now? Absolutely right in that case. That's a very good play. Just a solid play, and plenty of tanks now. The reason why it's not great, I think, I still would have gone with tanks at that point, because at that point I think he had maybe 9 units, and 3 of those have been mobile missile launchers. I mean, it's quite nice, but at that point I think Hope just has more firepower on the ground regardless of these P shields, and you have plenty of air to break through the P shields that Hope might have. Yeah, and Hope just kind of belly flops here. It has to retreat all the way back. Well, it doesn't really have to, but he built way too many mobile missile launchers that haven't really capitalized it. Now he's severely outgunned on the ground firing capabilities, so he's going to have a lot of issues taking out this army, especially the longer this game goes. Iron is not too terribly ahead on the expansion front, but he's going to play a safer game, which I quite like here as well. He's going to start probably building up some mass extractors. Does allow for an opening for Hope to come in here and maybe snipe that radar. That's going to be quite nice. That bomber is going to get taken out. Is there anti-air on these factories? Oh man, those bombers are going to have free reign. Engineer does go down, and yeah, I think Hope has to engage here. I think this engagement is about 3 minutes late, to be completely honest with you. ACU definitely needs to do a better job here. Oh, there's now demolishers on the field. Bombers coming in for a bombing run. No split from Hope, and that's a pretty, actually not a very consequential bombing run, but Hope's ACU is getting targeted down. I think he's going to walk into some demolisher fire here. Hope is in red, and yeah, I think this just came down to poor control by our Russian player. Interesting push. I quite liked it. I think there was just a little too many MMLs and a little too many P shields and not enough ground firing force. And when you have 2 factories, you're gonna stop that pretty easily, especially when your micro is not in the tip-top shape. But we're going to give a break to Hope. He hasn't played too terribly much of Supreme Commander 2 lately, and he's still one of the greatest players out there, but Iron Commander is a challenge on any day, even if you are on top of your game. So I think, expectedly so, Iron Commander grabs a 2-0 lead, or win, not lead, and keeps his hopes high, or keeps his chances alive to maybe take first in this tournament, depending on how Foxtremellen does. Normally, Foxtremellen kind of dips towards the end of the tournament, at least in the Serpents Opens, and then, it gets kind of interesting. So we'll see. But for now, let's go ahead and get an update from the tables, see who is ahead, see who finished their games, and we'll be back with round 3, or maybe if we can get into a game 2 here, I will also be back with that. But you guys don't go anywhere. There might be a little break, but stick around, listen to some music, and we'll be back with another game. If you're still watching, give a thumbs up to this video. If you liked the video, leave a comment. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you are blown away by it, check out my Patreon page. This has been Nite. Take care and peace out.